my God, horror movies have been on some kind of a crazy upswing recently. Since last year, honestly, probably since really 2024 or 2023 even. But it's something about horror movies recently where they have really like stepped their game up and went outside the box. And with this one right here, this movie Obsession is crazy. Like I was in the movie theater like what am I watching? What the hell is going on? This movie went from I knew it was horror to this is a psychological thrill. And it is crazy. I've always more so enjoyed psychological thrill than like slasher horror flicks. Like I'm okay with slasher flicks. Like horror is not even my favorite genre. Like I'm not a big horror movie person, even though my channel would probably tell you otherwise. 'Cause I post a good amount of horror flicks, but this one really stands out. It just has this really cool idea where it's just like one, it was released on little mainstream attention whatsoever. It really didn't get a lot of mainstream attention. Like it just was here. It was just like good. Come see this. This is really like the director's first film too, and it's really good. There's some dark comedy there, some uncomfortable relationship drama. It's kind of like a more of a modern "Be Careful What You Wish For" story. And when I was watching this, I was like, man, this feels like an '80s movie in 2026, but like more so the element of what causes it, not so much the way it goes. But there's this movie was really well put together, and it's like the main character, he's fine. He's your main character guy who's probably either gonna die or survive. He just is who he is. It's really the girl Nikki that is like the draw point of this entire film. The girl Indy, I'm gonna say Indy. I'm just gonna say Indy. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I really don't want to mess it up. This might just fuck around and be one of the most potential breakout screen queen performances I've ever seen. This is one of the best horror movie performances in like the last decade. Like she does a damn good job at what she does in this movie, and it is very much like you know what she deserves some praise for this. This was probably a tiring performance, but she puts on but she does it in style, spades, everything. And it's funny because in an interview I saw of her, she says she doesn't like horror movies. She is very much not a horror movie girl. But watching this movie, I was like, you are a natural. So this might just fuck around and be your career, sweetheart. Now that ultimately doesn't mean she's stuck in horror, but I'm just joking around. Like she's really good. And there's this item in the film titled the One Wish Willow. The One Wish Willow literally makes a wish for that person, and that's the only wish they can make, period. And so the guy, the main character, Bear, wishes that, Nikki liked him. He wanted her more than anything in the world. And he kind of realizes getting exactly what he wanted might have been the worst thing that could have happened. This movie goes from, okay, I see it worked, to instant, what the hell? Instantly. Like it is just crazy. It just goes and it's like the movie, it is a horror film, but like underneath like all that fear, right? Underneath all the fear, there's like unhealthy fixation, loneliness, entitlement, even consent is kind of like under the skin of all of this, and like trying to control people's feelings. It just really asks that question. It asks a lot of interesting questions like, is love obtained through manipulation really real? Like, is it love at all, or is it just a dream? Is it fake? Is it fabricated? Obviously, the answer is yes, right? Like, that is the obvious answer. But there is, like, it is a horror movie, but it does function as like a commentary on obsessive behavior. And the question is, who's obsessive, him or her? That's just the question we have to ask ourselves here. And I'm glad to see that this movie was made on like less than $1 million, and it has generated like 31 million. It has generally, it is generally probably the most profitable film of the year so far, just because This is some, like I said in my box office video. This is some Blair Witch shit. It costs less than $1 million, and it's generated 31 million. It's probably gonna crack 50 million by the end of the weekend because it is. I was in the theaters on a Wednesday in the afternoon, and the theater was packed. Now, my experience may not be everyone's experience, but this might just be one of the most, if not the most profitable film of 2026, just off that note alone. But we have to wait and see. We have to see. We still haven't dropped the monsters in the box office yet, and that's something to be considering. But you know, like it didn't rely on jump scares. It actually more so relied on like discomfort, like really escalating the behavior of the obsessiveness, the tension, the feeling that everything is wrong and nothing is right is in the room every single time. There's never a time where you're comfortable watching the film because it's just that crazy. Like everything is going wrong. Something he could be eating some food. Next thing you know, something real crazy. Like I was in the theater, like, oh my god, what the fudge? Like I was going crazy, y'all. I was going crazy, but it actually, like I said, I think the best part about it is that it can make even the tense, uncomfortable scenes kind of funny. And that's hard to do in something like that because this joint was like, if there wasn't humor in there, I think this would have just been dark. Like it's already dark, but real grim and somber and all those other things, which they are. But the humor really kind of keeps it from making you spiral into the abyss a little bit. I will say when the movie has violence, the violence is pretty interesting because it's just when there is the violence, it's like, oh my god. But when it's just normal, it's just normally psychological thriller, crazy, uncomfortable tension. Now, how you guys want to look at it is up to you. But I would say that this is one of the best horror movies so far this year. It might be the best horror movie this year, but Back Doors hasn't dropped yet. Backrooms, and that's also from some YouTube guy, I think, or something like that, and it's already generating really good stuff about it, and that might actually do really well as well. So we have to wait to see. It's probably going to come down to these two, right? Because good God. So we'll have to see. This movie was like Weapons. You know, like I loved Weapons last year. It was in my top 10 movies of last year. To me, this might end up being the Weapons of this year, but again, the other one hasn't dropped yet. So like I said, horror movies have been on a crazy upswing, a crazy upswing, and I'm actually happy to see it. You know, Sinners was all up in the Oscars this year. Horror movie. When does that ever really happen? You know what I mean? Um, Weapons. You know what I mean? A Madigan won for Weapons. So horror movies are finally getting that recognition they deserve because I guess horror movies have always had their place in cinema because they're cheap, reliable. They always overperform to some degree if it's really good. So that's just what it is. Now, I can't talk about the ending because I don't really like to spoil things like this, but I will say the ending, did the ends justify the means, seems kind of basic, but that seems to be the only way you could really go with this. And it really was like, wow, I kind of saw this coming, but the way they handle it and do it, it's like this is crazy. This is like really sad when you think because like Nikki's a victim. That's like the saddest part about the whole thing. Nikki was really a victim, bro. Really a victim. So I think with that all being said, that's where I'm gonna leave it because I really want people to like go see it for themselves. So with that being said, I definitely say Obsession is worth seeing, definitely worth experiencing. And if you can experience it with a lot of people, do that because that tends to make the movie experience even better. So, with that being said, I'm going to log off. Let me know how you guys feel. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.